Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and this evening we'll have a look at the latest on the GFS, the GM, the ECMWF, and the GFS Ensembles, along with the UKMO Run as well. We're looking at right now at the live radars. We do have the deluge that came through many eastern areas, spreading across East Anglia and the northeast at the moment. We've had a lot of rain falling over the course of the day. Some areas seeing 25 to 50 millimetres of rain, which is an inch to 2 inches of rain. Not absurd amounts of rain, but considering what we've had recently, which is pretty dry weather, it is a bit of a shock to the system, and many areas have seen some disruption from this. It is clearing, and there is some bands of rain still behind it, but it shouldn't really provide too much significant impacts, and just be a little bit drib, as this weather front does slowly clear. It does look like it's going to be there's going to be more unsettled weather over the coming days, with more showers, especially in the north and west, but more widely as we head into later this week and early next week. So if we do have a look at the latest from the GFS, you can see at the moment we have low pressure clearing away and sort of filling in. We do see a brief ridge in the south, which is going to mean things are going to be a little bit drier over the coming days, but still some showers in the north and the west. Beyond that, you can see low pressure is gathering out the Atlantic, and it's going to be throwing weather fronts through by sort of Friday into Saturday. Pretty much all areas are going to see some rain once again, and it's like we could be seeing another deluge, but probably favoured in the north and the west by sort of Thursday, Friday time. Beyond that, we continue to have low pressure pushing in, and it does look like we're going to maintain unsettled pattern with low pressure plunging in from the northwest. We do see a brief ridge potentially building towards 240 hours, and let's hold on, and we see sort of this extension of the high pressure we've had over Scandinavia, which has been trying to block out these lows, and it could, for a period of time, actually go quite warm. You can see for the upper air temperatures, it's not hot, but it can be pretty warm with upper air temperatures getting up towards 10 degrees out of the HPA. With dry weather, it will feel potentially summery in a few areas, but towards the end of the run, you can see low pressure is starting to try and push back in. We do hold off for a period of time, but as ever, with high pressure milling in around, and we're not towards the centre of the high, there will probably be showers beyond that. But the GFS does look like it is a bit of an outlier at this stage, and it does look like the majority of the runs are still going for something pretty unsettled even towards the end of September. Doesn't necessarily mean anything too cold though, and we could still be setting up a pretty warm September, even though it does look like the second half won't be anywhere near as sunny and pleasant as we have seen in the first half. If we now have a look at the latest from GM, see how that does compare, you can see low pressure moving through at the moment, and then we've got another deluge moving in by this weekend, and by Saturday, once again, more low pressure pushing in. You can see right towards day 10, high pressure is starting to build in from the south, and this could be a very hot high pressure, potentially right towards the end of the run. It is being fueled really by this ex-hurricane, which is putting the hot air into it. It does look like in the longer term it perhaps would be broken down by these Atlantic systems, but we could be seeing a brief heat wave from the GM. Quite varied within these models. You can see with the GFS, although it had it high pressure trying to build in, it was much further northwards and would be pulling in a bit of a southeasterly wind with some cooler air potentially coming around from the east, whereas this GM run is showing very hot air coming in from sort of the middle of the Atlantic Ocean all the way down from the tropics. We could be seeing sort of potentially an Indian summer on the GM. If we do now have a look at what the ECMWF is showing, you can see once again low pressure moving through, then the deluge coming in through by Thursday, Friday, especially for the west. And then as we head toward day 10, you can see that high pressure is trying to block the low pressure away, but it does look like it's going to be moving through, and you can see being fueled by some warmer Atlantic air, mixing in with some cooler air coming in from Greenland, and that's sort of spinning up this area of low pressure, and it's going to be potentially bringing some more unsettled conditions quite widely once again. Even though the other models are going for more high pressure, it does look like at this stage we don't really have an idea of where this high pressure is going to go. It's not pinned down at this stage, and we'll have to keep an eye on what happens in the longer term, as of course what happens to the orientation of the high pressure could give a scenario like this where we have waving weather fronts, could give you a scenario like the GFS, which would be dry but not terribly hot, maybe warm in a few spots, or it could give a scenario like the ECMWF, the GM, where it does go quite summery and potentially into sort of an Indian summer heat wave sort of pattern. If we do have a look at the GFS ensembles, you can see we are above average temperatures at the moment, and that's fueled this heavier rain today. It's going to be sort of trending downwards to around average for the foreseeable future, really. A bit of a dry period coming up as we have a bit of a ridge building in, but beyond that, a lot of low pressure around, with a lot of precipitation spikes and quite variable temperatures. You can see by this current set of ensemble runs, the GFS was definitely an outlier, and I do not expect it really to come to fruition at this stage, but we'll have to keep an eye on really what happens in the longer term, whether we do see that high pressure take more of a sort of a backseat, or whether it does come to the forefront and take over control of the weather. If we do have a look at the sea level pressure, you can see generally things are a little bit in between. We have a bit of a ridge building, and then we go lower pressure, and then does look like high pressure is going to return to around the 20th, 21st, 22nd of September, before we do see a trend back to lower pressure. So it is a bit up and down, typical sort of an Atlantic westerly pattern, where we see brief areas of low pressure, and then some high pressure, and low pressure returning once again. So it doesn't look like anything too sustained at this stage. But of course, if we did see something like the GM or the GFS operational runs come off, then we could be talking about something a bit more sustained, dry, and potentially warm or hot. But at this stage, I really wouldn't count on it, and I'd have to just really keep an eye on that. If we do have a look at what is going on in Glasgow, just to give us sort of an idea of what's happening further northwards, you can see for the pressure, generally sort of in between systems at the moment, nothing too high, nothing too low, and in the longer term we've got a lot of uncertainty, many going for some very deep low pressure systems, other for going some very high pressure dominating. And again, it'll just show the uncertainty with the ones near the top, with the higher pressure going towards similar to what the GFS was showing, with high pressure building in up towards Scandinavia. The lower pressure options will have the ones coming in from the Atlantic. If we do have a look at the area of HPA and precipitation, you can see generally things are around or above average, which is quite typical for a westerly pattern, bringing in sort of southwesterly winds, which is generally a warm air mass. However, it's going to be pretty unsettled, so it's not going to feel quite warm at the surface. You can see a lot of precipitation spikes, a lot of variable temperatures as well, even though generally they are above average. So it does look like autumn is really going to be coming for Scotland, and we could be seeing a lot of rain, a lot of wind, and some unpleasant conditions at times. If we do finally have a look at the UKMO run, just to see what we are going to be seeing over the coming days, you can see the Deluge exiting to the northeast, and there still should be, or could be, a few lingering areas of rain and showers overnight tonight, potentially in the east, before we do see more shower outbreaks tomorrow. But it still could be a reasonably pleasant day tomorrow, where we have higher pressure further southwards and where you do dodge the showers. Beyond that, through Wednesday into Thursday, you see more showers still, and then by sort of overnight Thursday into Friday, deluge returning to the west, very heavy in Ireland, sort of fizzling out as it heads eastwards into the higher pressure, but still heavier rain for Scotland, or at least western Scotland, parts of northwest England, into Wales, southwest England, before heading eastwards, still providing some heavier rain in areas in the south as well, before another weather front comes through Saturday into Sunday. And it's something we just have to keep an eye on, and it does look like there could be some disruption with it, but generally it will just be miserable weather. If we do have a look at the max temperatures, you can see today it did reach maybe 18, 19, 20 degrees in a few spots where we didn't see the cloud and the rain, but under that cloud and rain, it was pretty miserable. Maybe only 15, 16 degrees under the cloud and rain all day as we head towards Wednesday. You can see temperatures potentially getting up towards 21 degrees perhaps, which is feeling pretty pleasant. In the south we do see some sunshine, but generally areas in the high teens. And remember, we are getting on into sort of the second half of September now, so things are going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult to get temperatures up into the low 20s, and it's, as I said in previous videos, every single day it's going to be more of a struggle. But there's still the possibility, so do make sure you cherish any days where we do see pretty decent weather, as of course it is a downward spiral towards winter from now on. I'm sorry to admit that, but it is, and you just need to take advantage of any decent days we do see over the coming weeks. Beyond that, as we head to Thursday, you can see temperatures potentially getting up towards 22, maybe 23 degrees in the London area. So a pretty decent day on Thursday, where we do avoid the showers. But of course, in western areas, heavy rain is going to be moving in, and you can see by Friday afternoon, potentially in the east, where we still have some dry weather, pretty nice, 22, 23 degrees. But I've got Scotland, Wales, southwest England struggling in the low to mid-teens. Under that, heavy rain across Northern Ireland and Eastern Ireland as well. Only 13, 14, maybe 15 degrees, so feeling pretty abysmal. And by Saturday, quite widely, we've got lower temperatures, maybe 20 degrees in a few spots where we see some sun breaks behind the weather front. But you can see the weather front positioned across sort of from the Midlands down into the southeast. You can see sort of band of 15, 16 degree temperatures, and that's going to be under the heavy rain and the clouds. So it does look like we are going to be seeing definitely some more rain, especially in the west. It doesn't look like anything sustained dry is coming, but it does look like we could see the odd day that's pretty decent, especially in the south and the east. For example, this coming Thursday. So do go make sure you go out and enjoy it and cherish it. As of course, as I said, we are slowly heading into autumn and will eventually be nearing on winter. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.